She threw the baby's used diaper into the sea without much thought. But little did she know that this casual action would lead to an unexpected discovery. The scent of the baby's feces, carried by the sea, attracted several hungry fish. Mia noticed this remarkable sight and, after many days of going without food, she hurriedly approached the fish, calling out to them warmly. She even tried tapping on the crate, hoping to lure the fish into her makeshift trap. However, the fish weren't easily fooled. Then, a brilliant idea crossed her mind. Why not create a tool and take matters into her own hands? She fashioned a crude fishing spear using a long rope and a sharp screwdriver. With this makeshift fish spear, she believed she could catch some fish for sustenance. Although her confidence was high, the tool lacked the necessary sharpness, and the fish were frightened away when she fell into the water during her initial attempts. After a day of relentless effort and depleting her energy, Mia lay exhausted on the crate, realizing that she needed another plan to secure food. Suddenly, she spotted a plane flying overhead. Mia saw a glimmer of hope. If she could somehow capture the plane's attention, she might be saved, even though the chances seemed slim. Without a moment to spare, Mia rushed into the cargo hold and desperately broke the TV screen to retrieve a shard. She climbed back to the top of the cargo hold, using the shard as a makeshift mirror to signal the plane. Although the idea was somewhat naive, she didn't give up. In her haste, she accidentally cut herself, adding another one to her already battered body. With no sign of the plane changing course, she returned to the cargo hold, dismantled the TV, and found a bent needle and some copper wire. Using a bit of alcohol for rudimentary disinfection, she painfully stitched up her new wound. The next day, as the sun began to rise, Mia emerged from the cargo hold with a simple fishing net in hand. She submerged it into the water. Attached it to wooden sticks, Mia carefully placed the baby's diaper on the net. Securing it with both hands on the sticks, she knew the fish would be drawn to the scent. All that remained was for her to wait patiently. Soon enough, the baby's feces scattered in the seawater, and their aroma lured several fish toward her. Finally, a large fish swam into the trap. Mia swiftly lifted the net, and in her dire circumstances, she had found something to eat. Today, we recommend this Spanish survival film to everyone. It tells the story of a woman pushed to the brink of despair, who initially contemplated suicide, but was awakened by a kick from her unborn child. She found herself giving birth alone in the sea, enduring countless hardships for the sake of her newborn daughter. The film is full of unexpected twists and turns, keeping viewers engaged throughout. It is definitely worth watching. The story unfolds in a dystopian country, where severe resource shortages have led Spain and neighboring nations to implement a brutal extinction plan. Initially, those in power ordered the elimination of all elderly citizens. 7 months later, their target shifted to children and pregnant women, and military forces were ordered to smother them in their cribs to survive. Ordinary citizens were forced to spend all their wealth, risking their lives to escape to other regions. Nico and his wife Mia were among those attempting to flee. Guided by a middleman, they discreetly slipped into a shipping container under the cover of darkness. Inside, they found many pregnant women and children who had embarked on the same desperate journey. One woman inside the container had a mobile phone and managed to create a small hole for ventilation. This provided some relief from the stifling conditions. Through this small opening, they witnessed a world filled with misery. People were protesting in the streets, but armed police brutally suppressed them. Children and pregnant women were arrested on the spot and callously locked up in cages. Witnessing these scenes, no one would regret escaping that dreadful place. However, their escape came at a cost, as their supply of chocolate was depleted when they needed it most. After some time, the cargo door suddenly swung open, and a flood of refugees rushed in. Mia was knocked to the ground as the middleman once again took charge of a new group of migrants, urging them to hurry inside. Seeing the situation spinning out of control, a bald man with a gun intervened to restore order. He informed everyone that another truck was about to depart, emphasizing the need for orderly boarding. However, chaos ensued when people tried to rush into the truck. In the midst of the chaos, Mia was thrown out of the vehicle. In this way, Mia lost her only means of communication. Desperate, she peered through the small opening to see what had happened to Nico. He entered the green container numbered 107. They managed to communicate through their phones, and Nico promised that he would come to find Mia if the opportunity arose. He warned her not to trust anyone, but fate had another cruel twist in store. When the truck reached a checkpoint, it was stopped for a thorough inspection. Despite the middleman's attempt to use his connections to expedite the process, the cargo container's door was open, revealing its contents to the military officers. As an officers entered the cargo hold, she inspected the cargo with care, taking measured steps. When she reached a certain position and paused, her subordinates were ordered inside the container. Mia and the others cowered inside, hardly daring to breathe. Suddenly, the commanding officers instructed her subordinates to stand at different locations inside the container. She then walked to the outside, counting her steps. When she reached a specific spot and stopped, her subordinates were ordered to fire their guns. The gunshots rang out, with bullet holes appearing far from where she had stood. It was evident that there was a partition inside the container. The officers returned to the container and did not resort to violence. Instead, she persuaded the people inside to voluntarily step out, promising them a safer location. She warned that those who refused would face execution. Mia remembered her husband's words and found an opportunity to hide on top of a wooden crate. However, when a girl opened the partition, the officer's ruthless betrayal became apparent as she callously ended the girl's life. Next, the officers ordered the execution of all the migrants, including children. Mia, hidden on top of the crate, narrowly escaped this fate. The officers then ordered a cleanup of the scene, confiscating the migrants' belongings. It was only after the cargo doors closed that Mia dared to breathe again. Suppressing her grief, she urgently conveyed the message to Nico, instructing him to stay safe. After some time, Mia's container was loaded onto the cargo ship as planned. However, even after the ship left the port, she received no response from her husband. Her son remained still and frightened while taking a rest on the side. Mia discovered a hidden backpack at the edge of the wooden box. It contained an electric saw, a water bottle, a mobile phone, and a fluorescent stick. Initially, Mia didn't pay much attention to these items, believing that the cargo ship's timely arrival would bring rescue. But fate held unpredictable twists. The night sea turned terrifying, and relentless waves capsized the cargo ship into darkness. When Mia awoke from her nightmare, she found herself submerged in the cold sea. Looking towards the cave's entrance, she saw the endless sea, with scattered wooden boxes from the cargo ship, some riddled with bullet holes, letting seawater surge in. Realizing the need for action, she attempted to contact Nick, but her phone was broken amidst the chaos. Mia gathered nearby materials, including a roll of yellow tape, which she used to temporarily seal and slow the seawater's entry. In a corner, she found a military wooden bag, uncovering several boxes. One contained a fresh keeping box, another a sweater. She changed into the clean sweater, and amid the items, she discovered a 40-inch TV and a box of new headphones. With nothing else to do about the wooden box hanging above, Mia heard noisy shouts from outside. Rushing to the cave entrance, she was astonished to see container 107, identical to Nick's, but it soon sagged. Desperate, Mia replaced her phone card and dialed Nick's number repeatedly, but received no response. On the verge of giving up, she contemplated ending her life. However, her unborn child's kick reminded her of her determination to survive for the sake of her second child, as her eldest had been taken by authorities. She curled up in the highest part of the cave, but rising seawater forced her into the hanging wooden box, which quickly submerged her. Another terrifying nightmare ensued, but it pushed her to take action. To survive in the confined space, she resolved to get the hanging box down. Cutting the rope, it fell steadily inside. More fresh keeping boxes awaited. Mia used a small knife to create a makeshift seal, blocking the water inlets and locating a pipe. She drained water through the pipe using a fresh keeping box. Though the process was slow, Mia marked time on the wall with yellow tape and noted the highest water level, attempting to make a call for help. She found no signal. Realizing that pregnant women faced execution under policy, reorganizing her bag, Mia found little food, a thermos cup, and a lighter of unknown use. Suddenly, her Nokia rang, and she received a call from Nicole, who had been thrown off the road by a driver. Nicole urged Mia to stay calm and wait for her help, but the Nokia's battery ran out. At night, a fierce storm raged outside. Mia, about to give birth, faced a harrowing ordeal. The following day, she safely delivered her baby and named him Noah, hoping for a safe return to the world like Noah's Ark. Mia had enough milk for the newborn. She also contemplated using an electric drill to create an opening in the wooden box to assess the situation outside. However, with dwindling supplies and fear-inducing sounds overhead, her electric drill eventually ran out of power. Mia stared at the hole in frustration. She took out her phone. I tried several times, but the broken screen remained unresponsive. The challenge persisted. Compounded by the baby's cries, Mia's impatience erupted, and she tossed the preservation box aside. Accidentally, the military knife fell on a wooden box. Those familiar with it know that the military knife has a small file. Mia used the wrong knife to make small holes, but on the sixth day, even the wrong knife wore out. With no other options left, Mia, who hadn't eaten for days, felt the pangs of hunger, dizziness, and disorientation. She even experienced hallucinations. Pouring some seawater into a bottle and carefully sipping it, Mia managed to maintain her consciousness, though she accidentally spewed some on her head. Gazing up, she saw Dua Jandine. Quickly, she reached up to lick it. Mia began to dream again. In her dream, she saw her daughter asking why she hadn't taken her when she left. Tears filled Mia's eyes as she blamed herself. Husband Nicole approached to comfort her. Next, Mia was awakened by the rain. It was drizzling outside, and rainwater flowed into the container through the borehole. Mia hastily retrieved the freshness and filled it with rainwater. While doing so, she came up with an idea. Mia found a long bag and inserted it into the borehole. With all her strength, she managed to break open the roof. In that moment, Mia couldn't contain her joy. She looked around, thanking her daughter for the strength she'd given her. Mia finally emerged from the confined space. Before her stretched an endless sea, and the fresh air outside was considerably more comfortable. Soon, Resourceful Mia learned to capture fish from the sea, securing necessary food for her survival. Starting from the 9th day, Mia's life took a more predictable course. The modified water bottle became a new drain, more convenient for treating wounds on her thigh. It also doubled as a mirror. When boredom set in, she would converse with her child, discussing the child's father and sister, as well as the flawed policies of society. Mia tore off a side of her notebook filled with survival notes, placing it in a freshness box and tossing it into the sea as a message in a bottle, hoping someone destined to find it would. She also hoped for significant temperature differences between day and night at sea to stay warm. Mia poured liquor into a thermos, ignited it with a lighter, creating a simple oil lamp. One day, while comforting her baby, Mia suddenly heard movement outside. She emerged holding her child to investigate, and to her surprise, she received a phone call from her husband. Anxiously, she tried to unlock her phone, finally managing to connect the call. Unfortunately, the news was disappointing. Her husband couldn't come to her rescue. He had boarded an illegal immigration truck, but was attacked by extremists on the way. Though he managed to escape, he was shot. Nicole called to bid farewell to his wife, leaving Mia in profound sadness. She shared the news of her child's birth and let her precious daughter talk to him. In the end, Mia expressed her love to Nicole. After the phone's battery ran out, Mia pondered her situation. While holding the chocolate Nicole had left her, the following days passed swiftly, and the water level reached its peak. Drainage was no longer possible. Mia's diary covered the walls, and she no longer had an appetite for fish. Now she had to stay at the top of the box to survive. However, Mia didn't give up on survival. She used a preservation box as the base to build a small lifeboat for the baby. One day, while comforting her child, Mia noticed a seagull approaching to eat a fish bone. This surprised and delighted her. Encountering a seagull suggested land might not be far off. However, the heavens offered her little time to drift. As the water level in Huashan reached its maximum, Mia decided it was time to leave Huashan, but her chocolate, dropped by Nick, fell into the container. Mia carefully calculated that after retrieving the chocolate, she could float to the surface. However, as she tried to cut a tangled rope, the cargo box had sunk more than 10 meters. Though she managed to swim to the surface, her sleeping daughter was nowhere to be seen. Mia anxiously called out for the baby, but a massive object approached her silently. It was a whale shark passing by. Its huge body pressed against Noah, then gently sprayed a small jet of water, waking the baby from her slumber. Noah immediately began to cry upon awakening. Hearing the cries, the woman noticed Mia's presence. At that moment, Mia was moved by the whale's behavior. She watched the whale depart and silently expressed her gratitude. Floating in the sea with her survival boat, Mia threw the fishbone into the water, hoping to attract seagulls. Mia knew she was in dire straits and talked to her daughter almost incessantly, thanking her for her presence, which had brought her to this moment. A bird's call awakened her, followed by down scenes of seagulls drawn by the scent. Their presence caught the attention of nearby fishing boats. With teamwork, they retrieved the baby. The woman, who touched the baby's face and felt its normal temperature, noticed a rope, pulling it up. She realized Mia was attached to it. However, Mia's face had turned livid. The woman attempted first aid treatments, but there was no effect. The baby, sensing the situation, began to cry. The woman briefly pondered and started artificial respiration once more. This time, it worked, saving Mia from the brink of death. Mia didn't open her eyes at first but signaled that she wanted to hold her baby. When Mia finally opened her eyes and saw her baby, she realized that she had survived. She looked at the woman's son, knowing it wasn't an illusion. And finally, she regained full consciousness, breaking into tears. Mia's harrowing survival experience had made her acutely aware of the fragility and resilience of life. On the brink of death, she had forged a strong connection with her daughter and experienced the magic and kindness of nature. Before starting their lives anew, facing the future with strength, she would always remember her husband Nick for her daughter, Noah, who continued to move forward.